Hare Krishna, audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Make sure. Am I audible now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Gopi Janavallabha
Yashodanandan Braj Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shripad, Gurudev Shripad.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shripad, Gurudev Shripad.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
जय जय श्री राधा माधव भगवान की जय.
Jai,
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय.
Jai,
जय गौर निताई की जय.
Jai.
जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. पतित
जय।
पावन श्रीपाद महाराज गुरु महाराज की जय हो
जय।
जय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tator Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki. Today we are studying from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Text 45. Na Shrota Nanu Vaktayam Mukhyo api atra mahan asuhu yastva ihendriyavan atma sachanyah prana dehayoho nashrota nanu avyaktyam Mukhyo api atra mahan asuhu yastva ihendriyavan atma sachanyah prana dehayoho. Translation and purport. Please scroll down. By His Divine Grace Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ho. In the body, the most important substance is the life air, but that also is neither the listener nor the speaker. Beyond even the life air, the soul also can do nothing. For the super soul is actually the director in cooperation with the individual soul. The super soul conducting the activities of the body is different from the body and living force. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead distinctly says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritirjnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Although the Atma or soul is present in every material body, Dehino asmin yatha dehe. He is not actually the chief person acting through the senses, mind, and so on. The soul can merely act in cooperation with the super soul because it is the super soul who gives him directions to act or not to act. Matta smriti gyanam apohanam cha. One cannot act without his sanction, for the super soul is upadrishta and anumanta, the witness and sanctioner. One who studies carefully under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master can understand the real knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the conductor of all activities of the individual soul and the controller of their results as well. Although the individual soul possesses the indriyas or senses, he is not actually the proprietor, for the proprietor is the super soul. Consequently, the super soul is called Rishikesh, and the individual soul is advised by the direction of the super soul to surrender to him and thus be happy. Sarvadharman prityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Thus he can become immortal and be transferred to the spiritual kingdom, where he will achieve the highest success of an eternal blissful life of knowledge. Eternal blissful life of knowledge. Satchidanand. In conclusion, the individual soul is different from the body, senses, living force, and the airs within the body. And above him is the super soul who gives the individual soul all facilities. The individual soul who renders everything to the super soul lives very happily within the body. The individual soul who renders everything to the super soul lives very happily within the body. Hare Krishna. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjan Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Niti Namine Nama Sadbhakta Manayaha Manipurudbhavaya Cha Prabhupadala Sadvani Prachara Niritayate Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I offer my most humble obeisances to everyone, Maharajis and uh, all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and everyone present here in this audience. Please bless me so that I can share whatever little I could gather in relation to this shloka. In the body, the most important substance is life air, but that also is neither the listener nor the speaker. Beyond even the life air, the soul also can do nothing, for the super soul is actually the director in cooperation with the individual soul. The super soul conducting the activities of the body is different from the body and the living force. In yesterday's shloka, Yamraj is saying that, O lamenters, you are all fools. The person named Suyagya, for whom you lament, is still lying before you and has not gone anywhere. Then what is the cause for your lamentation? Previously he heard you and replied to you, but now not finding him, you are lamenting. This is contradictory behavior, for you have never actually seen the person within the body and who heard you and replied. There is no need for your lamentation, for the body you have always seen is lying here. So the conditioned living entity is so very rigidly trapped in ignorance that he sees not the real facts. There are many things to be seen. Tattvadarshi. So people who have seen the truth, they can tell us these various hidden real scenarios. So first of all, we have got this immense amount of ignorance. On top of that, we have got an immense amount of false ego. And because of these two combinations, we end up thinking that we own the body, we drive the body, we hear, we listen, and this body is me, I am the body. So there is so much covering of ignorance actually that the living entity is simply caught in this covering, and the whole human life is wasted under this false impression that I am the body and I am driving the show. So he just spends the whole life like this. The whole life is gone like this, thinking like this. But we have Bhagavatam with us, and we have Bhagavat devotees. So they show us the light, and with their mercy, the mercy of Guru Maharaj Ji, right? Divya Hriday Prakashita. And when the Gyan is Prakashit in our heart, right? Here Divya Gyan would mean Bhakti Gyan. But when Bhakti Gyan is shining in our heart, this knowledge also, this spiritual knowledge, the distinction between body and matter also implicitly shines in our heart. So that I am not the body, it will come only when the mercy of pure devotees, mercy from Guru Maharaj Ji is availed, then only it is possible. So Yamraj Ji is saying that this Suyagya, he has left, right? If you were thinking all this time and you are still thinking that this body is Suyagya, but the body is lying very much in front of you with the same composition and same eyes, same hands, everything is there, right? But why are you crying then? The body is very much in front of you. Why are you crying? Right? Because all the time you have been thinking, and we also actually think all the time, don't we? That body is the person. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada Ji in many places he says that when we say when someone dies, we say he left. So who left? The body is pretty much there, lying in front of us. So who has left? So actually, the Atma has left. So on the contradictory, if the queens present this argument that the life years have left this person, and so therefore this person is not able to talk to us, not listening to us. This person who is lying in front of us, he's there, but the life years are gone forever, so therefore he's not talking to us, he's not opening his eyes, and so therefore he's lifeless. If the queens still insist like this, if the queens still insist, no, the same person is there in front of us right now, but the life years are not anymore, and so therefore that's why he's not able to move. So for them, this present shloka is being spoken, today's shloka, that even the life here is also not the listener or even the speaker. Even the life here, mukhya prana. Mukhya, what is the translation? Mukhyo api atra mahan asuhu. The life here is also not the listener or not the speaker, because life hears also, they lack consciousness. Consciousness is only the property of the spiriton, atma, chetana. So when body collapses, which means when the timer is off, everything has got a timer, kala. So when the time comes and the body becomes dysfunctional, then the subtle body comprising of mind, intelligence, and false ego, and the life airs wrapping within themselves the spiriton. According to laws of karma, they occupy or they are transferred to another avenue. So along with Atma, the subtle body and the life airs also go. Or we should rather say that the subtle body and the life airs, they drag the Atma with them to the next body. So these life airs are 5. I'm just reading from here. They are Prana, Apan, Udana, and Saman and Vyan. And briefly, Pran is the pranvayu which governs the movement of energy from the head down to the navel, which is the pranic center in the physical body. Apan vayu governs the movement of energy from the navel down to the root chakra. Udana governs the movement of energy from the navel up to the head. Saman vayu governs the movement of energy from the entire back to the navel, entire body back to the navel. Vyan vayu governs the movement of energy out from the navel through the entire body. So among these, the prana is called the mukhya vayu, mukhya. The translation it is there, right? Mukhyo api atra mahanasu. Mukhyo api atra mahanasu. So even this main life air, which is prana vayu, even that is also not a listener or not the speaker. They are just doing some basic bodily physical activities. Because of them, the body is able to, the bodily organs are able to function. The eyes are rolling. And the other vayus, if there is an aberrance there, if there is an error, the senses, the sense organs, they can't move. For example, whenever in my system, whenever the apan vayu, which is supposed to go down, right? When it comes up, so my eyes start rolling, right? And whenever any vayu is trapped anywhere, so we feel that we find it painful and the sense organ does not move there. Is the idea. So, so therefore, it's not a life here. It's not because of the life here that the body was getting its, its speaking, understanding, and cognitive abilities. It is purely because of some other agency, the Atma, Spiriton, which provides this body the functionality. So therefore, in this argument that this body is a person and the life hairs, when the life hairs vanish, the body stops functioning, or the body stops talking, the body stops understanding. That is not the idea. The consciousness bearing soul, the spiriton, is the one which is the actual listener and the actual speaker, because it has consciousness. Then Prabhupada is telling something very important here. Interesting that the super soul is actually the one which is actually coming in between this spiriton, the soul, and the sensory perceptions. So therefore, I like to take you to this shloka 6:16:48. We discussed this few weeks back only. We closed 6th canto. Yam vai shvasantam anu vishwa sraja shvashanti. Yam chekitan manu chittaya uchikkanti. Bhumandalam sarshapayati yasya murthini. Tasmay namo bhagavate astu sahasramurthine. My dear Lord, it is after you endeavor that Lord Brahma and the other directors of the cosmic manifestation become occupied with their activities. It is after you perceive the material energy, my Lord, that the senses begin to perceive. The Supreme Personality of Godhead holds all the universes on his heads like seeds of mustard. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, that Supreme Personality who has thousands of hoods. So this line, it is after you, just a second, oh, this thing will appear again, okay. It is after you perceive the material energy, my Lord, that the senses begin to perceive. So our perceptions, whatever we are receiving, is actually first it has been perceived by the super soul, Sarva Sacham Hridi Sannivishta, the super soul who is seated in everyone's heart. He is perceiving, and because of his perception, then he is lending this perception of his to the Spiriton, and then the Spiriton perceives. Without the agency of super soul, we cannot even see, even hear. For example, sometimes we rub our hands, and then we touch the face of a child or anyone. So we are transferring our heat to that body, to that person. In a similar fashion, the super soul, he lends his perception to the Spiriton, which according to his capability is then able to perceive things the way it should have been. Or it is purely Paramatma who is transferring his perception. He is perceiving all this phenomenal world, and he is then lending his perception to the individual spiritons. So therefore, this diagram I presented once. Let me see if I have still got a diagram. So the diagram is little just give me a second, please. Yeah, this diagram. Is it visible?
Yes, probably.
So there is this flower. The flower scent, because of these molecules in air, they hit the sensors in the gross nose, and so therefore the signals are produced. The olfactory neurons send electrical messages to the brain, and then from brain to this mind, the ether acts as a medium between brain and the subtle sense in the mind. So for every gross sense, we have a subtle counterpart in the mind. Actually, these senses are the functionalities of the mind. For example, like how every hardware device has got a device driver in the operating system. Device driver is a software version of the hardware device. Similarly, for every gross sense, our nose, ears, eyes, there is a software, there is a subtle counterpart, which is nothing else but a functionality of the mind. It's a function of the mind. So from this brain and this nose, sukshma sense, the ether, it acts as a medium. According to Sankhya Darshan, the ether is the one, Panchabhut ether, which acts as an agent for this translation. And between this subtle sense, which means the mind, and the soul, there is this Paramatma. And super soul acts as a mediating agent between mind and soul. So first, super soul, he gets the perceptions, he is perceiving, and he's seeing, he's listening, and then those perceptions, then they are transferred to the soul, and then the soul perceives, the soul sees. Okay. And there is this reverse channel also. The soul wants to move his hand, let's say. So the super soul, he Upadrashta Anumanta, who is Upadrashta. Upadrashta means we are drashta, we are observers, right? So there is this observer effect. We are observer, but he is observing even us. We are observing, but he is observing even us. Upadrashta, sitting very close to us, he is observing us, and another meaning of Upadrashta is, it is because of him only that we are able to observe. So when the soul wants to move his hand, so super soul, Paramatma, he understands our intention, and then he directs his back. So there is this Sukshma Karmendriya. Like every Gyanendriya, there are Sukshma Karmendriya also. Then back to brain sends a signal to hand, and then hand acts. So in this way, in both these direction, actually it is Paramatma only who is acting. But the soul, because of ignorance and because of false ego, he ends up thinking that he is acting, he is smelling, he is talking, he is speaking, and so on. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada is saying, writing in this purport. So Srila Prabhupada is writing that the soul can merely act in cooperation with the super soul, because it is a super soul who gives him directions to act or not to act. Matta smriti gyanam aponam cha. You remember last class we discussed that how Lord, through the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, Lord through Bhagavad Gita is defeating this karmavad and swabhavad. Swabhavad was this argument that every living entity has a swabhav, and because of this swabhav, he's acting inherent swabhav. But actually, this swabhav is a kind of a superimposition on us. The Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjun Tishtati. So the Lord is programming this our swabhav. It is actually purely in strictest sense, it is not our swabhav. Lord is programming, and life after life there is a new swabhav, new bhav. So therefore it is not our swabhav. Jeev ka swabhav hai, Jeev is eternal servant of Krishna. That is a real swabhav, swarup of Jeev. But these intermittent, these temporary so-called swabhav, they are actually kind of a programming done by the super soul. Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjun Tishtati. So therefore this shloka is we discussed last time. There is one very wonderful thing about that, about the purport by Srila Prabhupada on that shloka. Let me take you to that shloka. In this purport, when I later read that purport, I found something very interesting. Srila Prabhupada used 4 shlokas in this purport. Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjun Tishtati. Then Sarva Sachaham Hridi Sannivishto Matta Smriti Ganam Aponam Cha. Sarva Dharman Prityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. And last one is Bahunam Janmanam Ante Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. So in all these 4 shlokas, what is the common thing? If you see carefully, the commonality is the use of the word Sarva. So Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam, Sarvasya Chaham, and Sarva Dharman, and Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. So Ishwara Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjun Tishtati, using this shloka, Lord is actually contradicting, Lord is defeating Swabhavad. Right? It is Ishwarvad actually. Ishwar is programming. How is he doing it? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. By giving knowledge, by giving remembrance, by giving forgetfulness, he is doing it. And sarvasya cha sarva dharman pratyaja mamekam sharanam vraja. With this shloka, Lord is defeating karmavad. Karmavad means this argument that the Lord will definitely give you reactions of your actions. These karma mimans, the proponents of karma mimansakas, they say this. He will definitely give you, irrespective of whether you are a devotee or not. But here Krishna is saying, Sarva dharman pratyaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. Krishna is saying, I will save you from all sinful reactions. And these proponents of karma mimansakas, which means karmavadis, they say, then Lord will definitely give you reactions. So Lord is defeating karmavad and swabhavad here. And lastly, this Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlubha. This shloka is also very strong and has got lots of meanings. One meaning is Vasudeva Sarvamiti means Vasudeva is the sole proprietor, and Vasudeva is the only deserving candidate of all our love, all rasas. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. We should offer all our love to Vasudeva. And as Paramatma, he is heeding to our desires as a very kind father. He's heeding, is like how a father heeds, right? So he's heeding to our desires, he's sanctioning, and he's fixing our swabhav, right? And he's moving our karmendriya, and he's perceiving, and because of his perception, we are perceiving. So he is doing all the job. And we, the perpetual conditioned living entity, we are degraded because we want to enjoy, we want to enjoy in place of him. So he is making all the things ready for all of us. Sarva sacham hridi sannivishta. So all this sarva, we should connect the dots like this. He is like a very merciful father. He is like a very merciful father. He is heeding to the desires of sarvasya, to all the living entities. And he is very smartly, he is because of him, all the living entities, they are getting their quota of enjoyment. But Ishvara, but Vasudeva Sarvamiti, but actually Vasudeva Sarvamiti, the proprietor or the beneficiary of all the enjoyment, all the love is Vasudeva, which he is expecting also. His expectation from the living entity is not a flaw. He is seated in the heart as Paramatma, but without, means out the body, as Krishna, as Guru Maharaj, as Shastras, he's telling his real intention that please offer me this, please offer me this. I may be seated as Paramatma, as Udasin, and doing nothing else other than heeding your and sanctioning your desires, but I too have desires, and my desire is that please offer me some love. So Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, that I will offer all my love to Vasudev, all my assets to Vasudev. Vasudeva will be the sole object of my all love, not a molecule of my love, the immense treasure that a spiriton has, prem. Not a single molecule will go here and there. Everything is reserved for Vasudev. So Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, obviously such a Mahatma, such a pure soul is very, 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 very rare. But we have to work in that direction. So first of all, there are so many things, right? So much covering is there. So much covering has to be like removed. I mean, it is such a big paradigm shift. Here we are sitting in here in this material world, being completely subdued by this ignorance, trapped in this material body made of Panchbhuta, thinking that we are smelling, thinking that we are perceiving, thinking that we are moving, and we have to make a jump to the other reality wherein actually Paramatma is doing all this job on our behalf, and then we have to answer this question, why is he doing? Why? Because he is merciful Father. Then we have to jump to another level, that even that merciful Father has got a hankering, has got a prayojan, and we being his eternal servants should definitely help him meet that prayojan, which means we should offer all our love exclusively to Vasudeva. So from here, I don't know, something is not visible. From here, we have to go all the way from here to very, very top level. How is it possible? We are in so much ignorance, and we have to achieve the highest state of this consciousness, Krishna consciousness, wherein we are offering all our love to Krishna. All that is actually very simple. If we simply follow the instructions of our Guru Maharaji. But even this simplest thing is sometimes the hardest thing, because thanks to our stubbornness and our rebellious nature, that even such a simple thing is also slips. But one who adheres to this simple policy, simple policy, simple process of simply following Guru Maharaji and doing everything for the pleasure of Guru Maharaj, everything is just in very little time. We will be upgraded from this huge ignorance, profound ignorance, to such a high class consciousness. So this all these facts have very vividly been covered in Jaiv Dharma, a very wonderful book. And Jaiv Dharma has been written by wonderful Vaishnava Acharya Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ji. And today is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ji. So we offer our most humble obeisances to Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ji. And I am pretty sure in the discussion round, some devotees will speak about Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ji. So thank you very much. I'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a nice class. Yeah. So if anyone is having any question regarding today's class, they can raise their hand and ask His Grace Srikant. Yes, Goel Maharaj, please.
Hare Krishna. I was
Dandot Pranam Maharaj. Dandot Pranam.
And with all those, I was waiting for Balram, because Balram ji, and Bhaktivedanta Thakur's appearance day, very timely. He described his contribution. But most beautiful observation about the 4 shlokas Prabhupada's quotation in that, the fourth one, that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Krishna himself is claiming that everything himself. And because he establishes, because he's the ultimate source of everything. That's why in today's purport, Srila Prabhupada establishing that without the sanction of Paramatma, even the presence of the soul cannot do any movement. Which the soul thinks that I am the doer. Without Krishna can make everything stand still. Without his sanction, nothing moves. So he's causing even the soul, which is conscious. He's making the soul appear as conscious.
Yes.
So that role Krishna has already claimed. And so when you brought out the Sarva, the common factor in all four shloka, that was so beautiful. But still, my question regarding the fourth Sarva, when Krishna says Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Krishna is also as if sanctioning or acknowledging for our benefit or otherwise that everything, he's equating everything with him. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So then the question is, Sarva, this word Sarva is very powerful. According to this word, and why not consider everything directly Vasudeva? Like once we were in preaching, and one person was so much struck on this point. He said, whatever he addressed me, that this banana in my hand, ye bhi Bhagwan hai, ye bhi Vasudeva hai. Then just to deflect his this conviction, I say, and now you are going to eat this Bhagwan. Correct. So Bhagwan ko khaoge, to kha nahi sakoge. So the paradox is that they accept everything is Bhagwan, and also they love to destroy him and eat him. So the idea, what is the connotation? When Krishna claims that, or tells that everything is he's giving that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So you want to put some category Sudurlabha. So what is the category before Sudurlabha? And what is Sulabha? What is not Durlabha? How Krishna Vasudeva Sarvamiti, how Krishna is calling Sarvam is claiming to be himself. How to understand, how to perceive Sarvam aspect in relation to everything. So then how we defy the Mayavadis, they very much attest to this statement. See, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. भगवान ही कह रहे हैं कि सब कुछ वासुदेवी है, सब कुछ कृष्ण ही है, तो मैं भी तो कृष्ण हूँ. Please throw some enlightening.
Yeah, this Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Bhagwan is not saying Sarvam Vasudeviti. In Sanskrit, this positioning of the words matter a lot. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, these Mayavadis, they consider as that everything is Vasudeva. For example, I have already given this example in one of my classes that sometimes we say, right, that boss is everything. And some ignorant employee will then start treating everything because boss is everything, which means my laptop is also boss, you're also boss, this is also boss. Boss is everything, which actually means everything is supposed to be used for boss, everything is a property of boss, everything is an energy of boss, and everything has to be used in conjunction with the very idea of pleasing the boss. So Vasudeva Sarvamiti means that Sarvamiti means The material energy is the energy of Vasudev. The spiritons, they are the energy of Vasudev. The Brahmajyoti is an impersonal expansion of Vasudev. Paramatma is an expansion of Vasudev. Even all these Vishnu Murtis, they are swams of Vasudev. Sarvamiti and Vasudev is the supreme enjoyer. That's one. Also, and when we say this Vasudeva Sarvamiti, these Nirvisheshvadis who are very much expert in this Neti Neti Kriya, like how these ignorant people, they say that everything is Vasudev. They say that this is not it, this is not it, this is not Vasudeva, this is not. So in this way, they reject everything. But Vasudeva Sarvamiti, it says that whatever you have rejected, it could have been used in service of Krishna. And whatever you have rejected, thinking it as useless or thinking it as not having any connection with Vasudeva or with absolute truth, that very thing could have been used for Krishna. So you Nirvisheshvadi, you lost opportunities after opportunities of applying things in service of Krishna. So this Vasudeva Sarvamiti is very rightly understood by devotees, especially Mahatma who are very Sudurlabha. They understand that how everything is connected to Krishna and how everything can be used in service of Krishna. And they actually teach us. So Prabhupada ji actually taught us with his example when he uses dictaphone. And in the wonderful purport of 1.5.22, where Srila Prabhupada ji writes that scientific preaching is also Hari Kirtan. So sometimes I'm really very, very much disappointed when I hear these students from ISC who come here. They say that because जो इनिशियल अपब्रिंगिंग होती है वो बहुत मुश्किल से जाती है, उनको सिखाया गया है कि साइंटिस्ट आर रास्कल्स. So this is something which is not very healthy attitude and not very much line of Bhaktivedanta Institute. Bhaktivedanta Institute and Prabhupada ji has told us that everything can be used and must be used in service of Krishna. So we are not in Neti Neti. We are in Iti Iti. Iti means Sarvam. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Everything is belongs to Krishna and everything must be used for Krishna with love, with all our love. And that is so Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, not Sarvam Vasudeva Iti. Maharaji, I understand Maharaji has also been telling one perspective which I like to understand now also further. When Maharaji says from Krishna perspective, everything is Vasudeva. From Jeev perspective, there is Bhed. I request Maharaji to expand on this, please.
Well, very beautiful concept. Yeah, we have to see Krishna's perspective because only Krishna is expressing, Krishna is claiming. So it's all inclusiveness. Vasudeva Sarvamiti means Vasudeva includes everything. It's all inclusive. Nothing can exist independent or separated from Vasudeva. And as you describe, because Krishna pervades everything, controls everything. He's all in all. He's the boss. So everything is man. He's all in all. Means nobody can claim to be him. If he is the only boss, who else can claim to be the boss? So when boss is everything, that means he claims he rules over. He is all inclusive. In his authority, in his command, everything is included. Nothing exists or acts or performs, or nothing is conceived independent of him. That is that conceivability. Because in general sense, Vasudeva himself, the person Krishna, he's a transcendental, correct? And when he says Sarvam means all this manifestation of this, even two kinds of prakritis, the inert Prakriti and us the Tatastha Shakti or the Parashakti. So both combined by the will of Vasudeva, and the functions Jare Jaishe Nachaise Taise Karinitya. His Sarva means he is making everyone dance. Ekala Ishvara Krishna are Sab Bhritya. And nobody escapes Krishna's servitorship. Directly, indirectly, willingly, unwillingly. Because nobody exists independent of him. Nobody exists outside his purview, outside his... rather, he causes everybody's existence. He is the ultimate cause of all causes. That's where. So, Vasudeva Sarvamiti means it's all inclusiveness of Krishna, so that nobody else can, because he controls, he rules. He is all inclusive. That's the point, I think. Understood. And in Achintya Bheda Bhed, yes, Krishna's viewpoint is he claims to be everything, being the source of everything. He can be everything. He can act as everything. In Brahma Vimohan Leela, Krishna did demonstrate that he is everything. So if somebody misses something, Krishna can replace him completely, ditto. So it was for Krishna to make possible that somebody who passed away, and he brought the son of his guru in the self-same body. Krishna has that capacity because he's all-inclusive. That's why he's God. So the all-inclusiveness, to appreciate the all-inclusiveness of Krishna is very, very rare in this world. That's why Sudurlabha. Those who attain the so-called perfection, that I am not this matter, that could be very, also very... Sudurlabha means one who surrenders to Krishna, one who accepts that he is also part of him. So he will never act independent of him. That understanding is very, very, very rare. That's why Krishna says Sudurlabha. Somebody may be perfected, is identifying not with the matter but with the spirit, but that is not enough. Siddhavastha is not sufficient. Siddhavastha is not transcendental, because one attains transcendental position only by Mannishtham Nirgunam Smritam. Only when one becomes atheist or one becomes surrenders, or one who acknowledges Krishna's all-inclusive capacity, then who will match Krishna? Everybody. The only role left is to surrender to him. So those who isolate themselves in the name of Siddhi or perfection, not acknowledging Krishna's all-inclusiveness, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, then they may be, because those who are endeavoring, or jigyasu, they may be also rare in this world, because most people don't endeavor for liberation or siddhi ke liye pratna bhi nahi karte na. So they are like sulabh, like artho, artharthi, they are very sulabh, correct?
Right.
But those who are endeavoring or inquisitive, they are durlabh in the worldly platform. Out of how many people? Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhai. Yatati matlab prayatna karte. So they are called durlabh. So sulabh are those who are artho, jigyasu, artho or artharthi, sulabh. But those who are endeavoring for or inquisitive, they are also they are durlabh. But and those who attain siddhi, they can be called durlabhatara. But those who surrender to Krishna, the real Gyanvan. So Gyanvan means appreciating the all-inclusiveness of Krishna. Then they will never act independently or try to isolate themselves. So Mayavadis and Jnanis, they isolate themselves. If they appreciate the all-inclusiveness of Krishna, they will also become Sudurlabha. That is my second question. If but Balramji is facing, I think we should Let Balramji, then I will ask later. Balramji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Maharajji, Pranam, everyone. So, my question is, maybe I had a comment also here, but I'll discuss it some other time. So, my question is about the Paramatma. So, Paramatma is there everywhere in all matter. Starting from electrons, atoms, everywhere. And so here, the Paramatma we are talking about, it seems we are expressing or we are considering it's different from the Paramatma, what is there in the matter, in our body. So, I mean, here the Paramatma, when the soul goes out, Paramatma also accompanies the soul. So, I mean, how do we understand this, or where it's? Is there any description about this Paramatma, whether it's different or it is the same?
How many Paramatmas are there? There is only
There is
one
only one
Paramatma,
Paramatma.
right? Who
Yeah.
is now treating another body as an avenue of functionality. There are two kinds of particles in this universe. The spiritual particles, which are us, spiritons, and the material particles, which are Parmanu. Both these particles have to depend on Paramatma for actions, because Paramatma is the only active agent. Without the guidance of Paramatma, the electron cannot move all this Parmanu. Parmanu also has got a functionality, right? It has got some movement, motion, whatever, disposition. That disposition is coming from Paramatma. The spiritual particle has got an upper hand because spiritual particle has got consciousness also. It has a personality. But that spiritual particle has got an enjoyment potency also, because after all, it is a superior nature. So for this spiritual particle, for the guidance of this spiritual particle, right, the Paramatma, same Paramatma supplies him prachur matra mein, ample guidance, and not only guidance, perceptions, and not only perceptions through smriti jnanam apohanam. And this Paramatma, who is only one, he is functioning through the or shall I say through the pathway of this heart. Sarva chaham hridi sannivishto. ईश्वर सर्वभूतनाम हृदय देशु अर्जुन तिष्ठ. हृदय से जो है वो आत्मा को गाइड कर रहे हैं उस रीजन से. So there is no contradiction.
So when we say the material or the basically the body, so each and every particle has let's say
each and every particle is being guided by Paramatma.
Yeah. So there is also
Shirodakshay Vishnu.
Yeah. Okay. There is also consciousness, although it's covered. So soul is different. Yeah. The consciousness of let's say our soul is much higher than let's say the normal particles. So in this case, I mean, why do we say the Paramatma is let's say, situated between soul and the consciousness or the senses. But I mean, we can consider it as the function of the same Paramatma, who is
Yeah,
everywhere.
functionality.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
He's functioning like this. So this is something which is achintya. So therefore, these yogis, they see Paramatma in their hearts, and we have to have enough purity to see Paramatma. The thing is that we are trying to confine Paramatma according to our concepts of space and time, which is definitely not flawless. There are flaws. We don't know what is space, and we are trying to assign some coordinates to Paramatma. Paramatma is here, 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 here. So this may not work in the case of Paramatma. So how is Lord functioning? Localized super soul, and same Paramatma is in everywhere. Dakshayi Vishnu is guiding each and every electron. So that for that purity is needed. For the time being, we should understand that from the core of our heart, Paramatma is functioning, and he is guiding each and every living entity and each and every non-living entity.
Yes, Prabhuji. And there is a small comment about, you said in Sanskrit, the positioning of the words matters a lot. That's somehow, I mean, the positioning is not that considered that seriously, because that's why we can have many different meanings from the same Sanskrit sentence. So
I don't agree with you. Positioning matters so much.
In
This
our language,
shloka is there. This shloka is there now, our 1328. Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. उसमें जी गोस्वामी जी ने पूरी इतना सुंदर कमेंट्री लिखी है. केवल पोजीशनिंग को लेकर ही शब्दों का कृष्णस्तु भगवान स्वयं कहा गया. ऐसा नहीं कहा गया कि भगवान कृष्णस्तु स्वयं. वो उस पे ही जीव गोस्वामी ने पूरा उसमें एक्सपेंड करके सिद्ध किया कि वास्तव में कृष्ण ही स्वयं भगवान. वो एक भी शब्द इधर से उधर रख दिया गया, पूरा मीनिंग बदल जाता है. संस्कृत में स्पेशली, अपने नॉर्मल लैंग्वेजेस में भी,
no, that's what I say.
अपने नॉर्मल लैंग्वेजेस में भी, कॉलिक्वल लैंग्वेजेस में भी अगर हम शब्द का इधर उधर रख दें, पोजिशनिंग स्वैप कर दें, इसको अलग तरीके से लोग जो है उसको पूरा मीनिंग ही बदल जाएगा ना उसका.
पर संस्कृत में ऐसे,
संस्कृत में भी ऐसे ही है.
Okay.
I have one comment.
Thank you very much.
हरे कृष्ण.
इसीलिए उस कंफ्यूजन को मिटाने के लिए भगवान 15:15 में कहते हैं ना, वेदैश्च सर्वैर अहमेव वेद्य. If you don't reach to appreciate Krishna as he is, the supreme person, वेदैश्च सर्वैर अहमेव वेद्य. Vedantakrit vedavit eva cha aham. If in their understanding, if Krishna doesn't surface on the top of the ocean of their knowledge, then they are not perfecting their endeavor. And that's why even if they try to put different meaning through different words and everything, but certain things remain, the conclusion remains unchanged. So Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, it is very clear. Krishna is the person known, and Swayam Bhagwan, that is a special we mean to say exclusive description. Krishna's exclusive, the superlative description. Superlative means nobody else, no Rupa of a Bhagwan. He is the original. Swayam Bhagwan means the original. All other rupas attain their Bhagavata from Krishna Rupa. That is so my question with regard the commentary regarding Paramatma appears to be moving from here to there. Like in Bhagavatam also one place describes that until Paramatma entered the different stages of creation, it is described. Until Paramatma, even Devatas, they are conscious beings. But in all the living entities, all the creations, Paramatma activated them. Same thing in today's Shloka Prabhupada establishing that without Paramatma section, nothing moves. So Paramatma appears to be moving, but Paramatma does not move. Why he has to move? He is everywhere, no? So this question was asked once, someone very deeply rooted in Mayavad, and we asked him this question. Okay, when the person passes out, like this king is passed out, no? And Yamraj is coming to instruct the lamenters, who leaves the body? Ask any Mayavadi, and he will be totally devastated in his coveted misunderstanding. Just simply ask him, who leaves the body? Paramatma leaves, or you leave, or the person leaves? If Paramatma is all pervading, he doesn't leave. Only the soul leaves. One who is all pervading, he has never to leave. That's why soul is not all pervading. It leaves out, it leaves the body and reaches its next destination. Paramatma doesn't leave. So the Paramatma and Atma, they are two beings. And this is how the Mayavadi is totally shattered. This common sense question will make them, we can make them skeptical about their misunderstanding. Regarding this life airs which you described, Srikant, there are few other functions of the life airs also. 5 you described, but in our Shastra they are 10 in number. So you have some. You want to throw some light on them? The
इसमें
5
almost
functions.
yes महाराज जी, इसमें ऑलमोस्ट हर दूसरे दिन अपने प्रिय बलराम प्रभु जी बहुत बोलते हैं बहुत अच्छी तरह बताते हैं यहाँ पे
महाराज जी
लाइफ फेयर्स के बारे में
बिफोर लाइफ फेयर मेरा एक मतलब कमेंट है जो मायावादी मैंने एक बार सुना था एक वीडियो में दे एक्सप्लेन दिस सोल as we capture some fluid or some let's say air inside a balloon. Yeah, when this balloon is like the covering that we have, the material covering, and when it goes out, actually they say, when it's liberated, this balloon is burst. Yeah. And yeah, until it is burst, if it is going out, then it goes out with the covering, subtle covering of the including this air, or we can think of the soul. That's what they explain in that way.
So the soul which is covered, it is not all pervading, na? That's why it is covered.
Yeah, that's what they say.
They are
it's not all
identifying with the
pervading,
Paramatma, which is.
Yeah, they say, because they merge into Brahman, this air which is included, or soul which is captured inside this covering, when this covering is burst, it merges into the Brahman, or if you say it is inside the air and the balloon is burst, means the air is merging into the environment. So it's
I think we should tell them very nice try. Yeah, they give. But as Maharaji has asked, you like to speak something. Acha, we also must use some time to glorify Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji. But Balram Prabhu, do you want to speak something on life airs, possibly in 1 or 2 minutes?
We'll do that some other time. I think we'll glorify first Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Maharaji,
Let's do
is
it.
it okay?
Yes, of course.
So Sanatan Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
we'll take this opportunity for maybe 5-10 more minutes to glorify our Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji. Okay?
Sure, Prabhu.
So Maharaji, please. Please.
आपने क्या कर दिया? मुझे इंट्रिक कर दिया. You have some messages to bring out as well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, celebrated as the Saptam Goswami by the very stalwart literary persons. His contribution stands out so uniquely because the struggle which he faced during his time is unprecedented also, and his champion son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which was called for or implored by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He really desired a son who would just become the beacon of this divine message of Mahaprabhu, which was so covered up and so much misrepresented by so many unscrupulous people. So his time was very, very critical. But as we know that pure devotees, they are totally unwavered in their determination to the predictions which Bhaktivinoda Thakur made. They are so amazingly manifesting in our time. That's why we can see that he was a true visionary of the future. Whatever he described, it just came to pass. How much we can glorify his ideal as whatever role he played, even apparently his material career as a judge or the, it was very, very exemplary. But we emphasize his contribution, that the contribution for causing the perfection to the soul's journey to its ultimate perfection of human potential. When the soul enters the human body, it comes with a very special expectation from Krishna. Krishna, when he makes the human body. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, champion, he just churned all the transcendental messages and instructions of previous acharyas, Shad Goswami and especially Narottam Das Thakur, and the songs which he wrote. They touch the ultimate Sobhagya. He exposed the ultimate Sobhagya possible for the soul in his journey on the path of pure love of Godhead. So in our growth, if we think that we have become very advanced and very knowledgeable and everything, but if we don't touch upon the points which Bhaktivinoda Thakur expresses in his songs, we are doing a disservice to ourselves. Just think of our spiritual master, who has sung so with so much deep devotional sentiment, the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Do you hear? Amazing songs. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, simple, beautiful songs. So that has to be the inner aspiration of every soul. Apparently, we are doing scientific preaching or science background and all these things. But if we observe very closely and intimately our master, our divine Father, when he was imbued internally, he was totally nurtured in his spiritual taste and flavor. Although externally he idealized the subservience to his spiritual master, he apparently did the most thankless job, not so appreciated even in the devotee community or sadhaka communities. That was his, that shows the testimony why he was able to dedicate the way he was, because of his totally grounded in his eternal Swarup, eternal rasa, eternal bhava. But for the benefit of the people who are lost into the modern materialism and modern matter science, he wanted to, he became a perfect beacon of Prabhupada's desire that yes, among the scientists, when he will walk, then they will find there's something they are missing, and this person has it. So just by his mere presence, he was able to do. So he also carried the message and mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur internally, so that those who noticed his something special about his divine grace, they benefited, and that became the prestige. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought the prestige to our Vaishnavism, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, because it was downgraded by the unscrupulous people, and so that's why we can think of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's greatness and his amazing. He carried two functions. The very established and very prestigious person, from a material point of view, in his function, and at the same time, he really rekindled, or what is that word? Re-established or revolutionized or rejuvenated the lost thread of pure bhakti, propagated or brought by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and is established by Shad Goswamis. I think I just said I was not prepared, but little time. Srikant Prabhu, if you have some special thoughts, please.
Definitely, Maharaji. First, we'll take from senior Vaishnavas. Our Shamchand Prabhu wants to glorify, it seems, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji. Yes, Prabhuji, you can unmute and.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna all Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you Prabhuji, first of all, for your wonderful class. Jai Srila Sripad Maharaj, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, Jai, Jai.
And also nice, wonderful discussions all around. So today is the most auspicious Avirbhav of our beloved Vaishnava Acharya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachitananda Namini Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. So in this pranam mantra, as it is mentioned, that he is the transcendental energy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So and as Maharaj mentioned, that he is also termed as the seventh Goswami, because his activities and his works are actually paralleled with all the six Goswamis. That means the six Goswamis were given the chief task by Mahaprabhu to excavate all the entire Vrindavan, the pastimes of the Lords, and also to write books on the Lord's pastimes. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has done something very similar as the six Goswamis. For example, he has excavated the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, Yoga Peeth, and he's a champion of the Gaudiya Sampradaya in terms of bringing the Siddhanta so strongly that after Mahaprabhu left and after the Goswamis left for 200 years, there was almost people were wandering and misusing the Siddhanta by Sahajias and in the wrong way, interpretation in the wrong way. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave the right direction through his commentaries. And one of his most prominent works is Sharnagati. And coincidentally, that book was published in the year when Srila Prabhupada appeared in this world, 1896. So Sharnagati is all about serving the pure devotees of the Lord. So, Prabhupada appeared that particular year. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur had already predicted that how this Harinam Sankirtan would spread all around the world, every village, and then so that came out to be true. So as a Grihastha devotee, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is our real role model. And Srikant Prabhu already mentioned about Jaiva Dharma, so that is one of his principal works. And I just purchased Jaiva Dharma from Vrindavan last week, and I have pledged to myself that I will try to read this as much as possible and try to understand each and every word that is mentioned in the book to perfect my own Grihastha life, because he was a real role model for all. He's a real role model for all of us in Grihastha life. Other than that, I just one or two more points I want to add, that he was a very, I would say, accommodative person. I mean, when you see our Guru Maharaj also, all types of sects of people, even from different religions, Maharaj always tries to include and then present the thoughts very nicely. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur had that quality. Like, he understood Christianity first, and then in some available opportunities, he used to draw some parallels and then present the Vaishnava Siddhanta quite nicely. So therefore, he was easily accepted by the masses. So that is the real strength of such great personality. And also, he was dead against karmavads and jnanavads, and he was always encouraging people to take the bhakti mark. In one or two occasions, when the villagers came up and told him that there is a ghost in one of these banyan trees, and that ghost is influencing the decisions made by the judge in favor of the convicts. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur had so much of faith in Srimad Bhagavatam that he sat under the banyan tree for 7 days just reading Bhagavatam, and thereafter the entire banyan tree crashed, and the ghost had to the ghost was vanquished from there. I mean, that was the power of the purity of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. In another occasion, there was a tantric who was claiming to be Vishnu by entering fire, and then he was trying to influence the masses by saying that I am Vishnu, then he is Shiva, and he is Brahma, so we three have come. And then so Bhaktivedanta Thakur understood that this person is a just a mystic person, but has got nothing to do with being the Supreme Personality. So he took up the challenge upon himself, and even the British people were fearing that tantric, and they were trying to stay away from him. But Bhaktivedanta Thakur, by the strength of his purity, he took upon himself, and then the trial began for 18 days. But on the 6th day, when the trial was going on, Bhaktivedanta Thakur's daughter, I think her name is Kadambini, she fell seriously ill because of the tantric's mystic powers. So
Black
everybody
art.
said, sorry?
Black art.
Yeah. So then everybody asked Bhaktivedanta Thakur to withdraw from this so that his family can be saved. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not relent. He took upon himself, and then at the end of the trial, it was the tantric who actually met the same fate of being seriously ill, like the daughter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered that his long hair has to be cut. See, the tantrics sometimes carry their power on the hair. The moment you cut the hair, they lose the powers. So that's exactly what happened. Bhaktivinoda Thakur read that situation well, and he ordered that his hair be cut and he will be put behind the bars. And then soon after that, he lost the powers, and then he also collapsed in the jail and consumed poison, and he died. So there are so many things we can go on and on talking about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but we are so fortunate that through Srila Prabhupada, we are able to understand all these great, acharyas who have come before him, and then we need to take, inspiration. I remember once His Holiness Subhak Swami Maharaj, he told me to take Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's works very seriously and start, reading. He said, as a grasta, this will benefit you a lot. So unfortunately, I took more time in understanding all that, and now I think the time has come for me to really go in that direction. And I beg to all the Vaishnavas to pray for me so that I am able to understand at least a drop of works he has done. So that's all. I don't want to take more time. I just wanted to end here. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Avirbhav ki jai.
Jai, jai, jai.
And just one more point, today is also the Tirobhav of another great Vaishnava, that is Srila Haridas Thakur.
Jai.
Okay, so Srila Haridas Thakur, I will just say one line and that's the end of it. Srila Haridas Thakur is none other than Lord Brahma, who understood that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality. So he wanted to take, come and play a part in his pastimes and be a tool in spreading the and showing the common mass on the benefits of chanting. So Srila Haridas Thakur represents to us he's a Nam Guru. Haridas Thakur is basically our Harinam. So whatever we chant, Namacharya, sorry. So whatever we chant, if we can pray at his lotus feet to get some taste and ruchi in our chanting, so that our chanting quality can improve, and then we all can do better service and go back to Godhead in this lifetime itself. So each time when we chant, we should think of Srila Haridas Thakur, and also think how he kept away the prostitute waiting and converted her into a devotee. I mean, if you can see the opposites between him and Ajamil, but then or even Srila Bilvamangal Thakur. So Bilvamangal Thakur got influenced by the prostitute, and the prostitute changed him, whereas here Haridas Thakur changed the prostitute and made her into a devotee. So that's the power of Harinam. So Srila Haridas Thakur Tirobhav Mahamahotsav ki
Jai. Thank you.
That was the best one sentence.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the devotees in the entire world, they are very much intrigued by one particular aspect of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakurji, that is his daily schedule. Every devotee talks about daily schedule of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakurji. So I have posted on chat. You can copy it, and you can see from this daily schedule that Thakurji would take rest for no more than 2 to 3 hours daily, and he was so busy. He would keep himself very busy in Krishna related service. Okay, so we move to some other devotees. Shyam Kishore Prabhuji, you want to say something? Achyuta Prabhu, I think we'll rather disable the mute option. Let me, security. Yeah, so you can unmute yourself and speak, I think.
The two Maharajas are not there?
No, today they are not there.
For a few days, looks like.
Any devotee, any Radha Govind Prabhu, Nil Madhav Prabhu, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. All glories to Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki jai. I don't have much knowledge, so I can't tell. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'll just say one sentence. So the root cause of all this international movement, Krishna consciousness movement, is the Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So, I mean, everything started from him. He has the intention how this Harinam can be spread all over the world. So, that was not fructified by, let's say, other acharyas, but Prabhupada could do that. But I mean, the main root cause of all this, whatever we are seeing today, is Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So all
Yes,
glories to him.
very nice point. The seed was there, it was then manifested by Srila Prabhupada. Very nice. And this is our job also. We are
Yes, Prabhupada.
soldiers of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji. Now it is our onus to take it further. So there are other devotees will keep for maybe 2-3 more minutes. Matajis are also there. They want to say something. Glorifying Vaishnava is really most purifying thing we can do.
Let us hear from you now.
I actually I don't have much to say, Maharaji. That's why I'm requesting everyone to speak so that I can listen. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji का जो हम तो श्रीला भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर जी के चरण की धूली ही हैं. उनका जैव धर्म जो है, it has intrigued me a lot. जैव धर्म में when I go through जैव धर्म, I am like kind of I marvel the level of transcendence in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji. And for example, there is this Vaikunt Patanvad, this argument is there by, unfortunately, by many devotees that say that Jiva falls from Vaikuntha. So the answer I got from Jaiva Dharma, because they are very, expertly they misquote Srila Prabhupada ji also. So in Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji has written that Jiva can never fall from Vaikuntha. So when I got that answer, that day onwards, I developed so much interest in Jaiva Dharma and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji. So that point by Balram Prabhuji was what I wanted to say. Balram Prabhuji has rightly said that actually the visionary, that seed form of whatever we see around us in the form of this Krishna consciousness movement, that was actually in the heart of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji, who could actually see, and therefore he could see that people will be singing the glories of Harinam and chanting around the world. The day will come. So that is very important. One thing I remember, I'll not take much time, that once one disciple asked Srila Prabhupada ji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji is such a pure devotee, why he could not do himself this preaching movement of Krishna consciousness the way you have done it. So Srila Prabhupada ji replied that he did not do because so that we could do. That's a very, very emphatic line. So we have to we have to become the limbs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji and do this mammoth task. And that is what will make us extraordinary, as Maharaj ji keeps saying. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you want to glorify? Your voice is very feeble. Could you come to near to mic?
Pitambar Prabhuji.
Yes. We are not able to hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Ha, Prabhu.
Yeah, if any others are there to clarify that.
और तो माता जी, प्रेम रूपिणी माता जी, do you want to speak something in glorifying Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji? Sanatan Prabhu, you can mute yourself. Yeah.
Haridas Thakur.
Mataji, your voice is breaking.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna.
You are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna.
Ha, Mataji.
I don't know much about Prabhuji, all this. I hear from you all. I Bhaktivedanta Jai.
Jai, Jai, Jai. Sanatan Prabhu, I think you can be the last person to glorify, and you can then also signal us to conclude. आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. There's some problem.
Krishna Prabhuji, yeah, I don't have much to add. I'm also like overwhelmed by the schedule. We also can take inspiration from that schedule and change our things like that, and we can do benefit for our things.
I'm sorry to say, but you are hardly audible.
Yeah, Prabhuji, maybe we can conclude that.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, Maharaj will conclude now. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Sachidanand Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai ho.
Jai, Jai, Jai.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Patit Pavan
Jai,
Sripal
Jai,
Guru
Jai.
Maharaj ki jai. Anant Koti
Jai, Jai,
Vaishnav
Jai.
Vrindi ki jai. And
Jai,
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Jai, Jai, Jai.
ये अमृता माता जी ने हाथ उठाया है, but shall we take from her, Maharaj ji?
Since you have expressed it, let's do it.
Okay, Mata ji. Please unmute yourself.
Pranam Prabhuji, Pranam Guru Maharaj, and Pranam all the Maharajas and devotees, and Hare Krishna. I have very little to say because I have no yogyata that I can say anything about Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur ji or Shri Haridas Thakur ji Namacharya. So, and I do not know much yeah, I can say that I don't know anything about them. But okay, then also, but I just want to offer 4 lines which I just feel, and so that's it. That नहीं है मेरी योग्यता कि कुछ कहूँ मैं उन महान दिव्य आत्माओं के बारे में। बस इतना ही चाहती हूँ कहना कि जब पढ़ती हूँ श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर जी के लिखे हुए भजन, तो जो एहसास महसूस करती हूँ, तो सोचती हूँ कि अगर ये एहसास मुझ जैसे अयोग्य को हो रहा है, तो इसे जो जिन्होंने लिखा है ये दिव्य भजन, क्या होगी उनकी दिव्य चेतना। ये सोच के ही मन मेरा भर जाता है। हाँ, ये सोच के ही मन मेरा भर जाता है और सोचती हूँ कि हाँ, कितनी हूँ भाग्यशाली कि मैं उस श्री गुरु परंपरा के साथ जुड़ी हूँ, जिनमें आए इतनी दिव्य आत्मा है, चाहे हो वो श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर जी या नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर जी। यस, देन कि हर पल जब भी हम लेते हैं हरे कृष्णा महामंत्र, तो लेते हैं उनका नाम, और ताकि हमें भी मिल सके वो एहसास जो है उनको, पर जो है बहुत ही दुर्लभ। पर ये सब कुछ और ये भी सुना कि जब श्री सरस्वती ठाकुर जी ने लेनी चाहिए थी दीक्षा, पर हो रहा था शायद कुछ विलम्ब, कुछ कारणवश, तब भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर जी ने दिया उनका हर पल साथ और उनका बढ़ाया हौसला। तो दिया उन भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर जी ने हमें भक्ति सरस्वती ठाकुर के रूप में एक दिव्य आत्मा, जिन्होंने जो किया उसका मैं कह नहीं सकती। एंड बट ये कुछ भी जो एहसास है वो मुझ तक कभी ना पहुंचता, ये रोशनी जो उन्होंने फैलाई है, अगर मेरे जीवन में ना आती मेरे श्री गुरु, उन्हीं के दिव्य वचनों से, उन्हीं के अमृत पानी से मैं एहसास जो थोड़ा भी कर पाती हूँ उन दिव्य आत्माओं के बारे में, उनके लिखे भजन या जो भी उन्होंने दिया है वरदान इस संसार को, ताकि हम जुड़ सके श्री राधा कृष्ण के साथ। तो मेरे चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम उन दोनों दिव्य आत्माओं को और मेरे श्री गुरु के चरणों में। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Mataji, that's wonderful. Yeah, we should use all our talent, poem and song singing in service of Maharaji. Someone has written in a chat, obviously it is a typo, that Namachari Srila Haridas Tagore disappearance day ki jai ho. I think you wanted to write Thakur. Anyways, we'll conclude. So at last, once again, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki
Jai,
jai,
jai, jai.
jai, jai. Sanatan Prabhu, you can end the meeting now.
Srikant Prabhu ki jai. Thank you all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.